You're watching ABC News Breakfast. Residents across Brisbane are facing an agonising clean-up. Floodwaters are dropping, but it could be days before residents can return to their homes.
ABC reporter Kathy McLeish lives in the Brisbane suburb of West End, and she joins us now from a makeshift volunteer centre set up there. Kathy, good morning. What's the situation?
Virginia, we're in the centre of West End on the corners of Boundary and Melbourne Street. Now, early yesterday, the river ran from the city edge behind me all the way through this intersection and into the businesses around us here. So it just gives you a sense of how far that water came in. Now, the shops here are still sandbagged, the power's off, the traffic lights aren't working. A motorbike rider came through this intersection earlier today and slid off his bike. So it's really important for people to be aware these roads are slippery. If you're driving through these areas, take care. There's a lot of activity. It's a hive of activity here now, and we're at a volunteer hub that's been set up by the Red Frogs crew from City Point Church. Now, these guys usually create chill-out zones at schoolies for the kids. Today and yesterday they've had these centres set up in 4 of the flood zones around the city. Jake Smith, you were around. Jake Smith's the coordinator. Jake, you were around at those various centres yesterday. A lot of people were watching and waiting for the water to go down to get into their homes. You spoke to a lot of people. What was the mood?
Yeah, Kathy, it's very surreal. It's incredibly good that we were ready for it, that it didn't hit us by surprise. But certainly when you're coming back to your homes, people are just wandering the streets, looking, so there's interest, but that wells up into compassion. The outpouring of compassion for the people of Brisbane is like nothing I've ever seen before. Everyone's walking, how can I help, how can I help? To the point where actually it's almost like the dams are breaking on the compassion. People really, really do want to help, and it's just facilitating how and why, making sure that it's safe. I think electrocution was a big problem in 1974, so we're just doing everything we can to match up a need with a volunteer.
Okay.
And it's a slow process, but we're getting there.
Yeah, it certainly has been like that, hasn't it? I just think everybody's hearts are with the people who are in trouble here, who have been affected, and certainly everybody I know is asking the same question, how can we help? Now, you've set up a volunteer hub that's operating today. How will that work?
Yeah, so initially it started where we just wanted to boost morale for the areas, go out there, have a sausage sizzle, because obviously a big problem is there's over 100,000 people without power. So
feeding them?
Yeah, feeding them, just having them walking around, they were able to get a bite without having to think about how to do that. So that was a big thing. We're also using those hubs to mobilise our volunteers. We had over 2,500 hits on our church website within 24 hours of people wanting to help, and that's just one local church. We had over 500 people register in 24 hours just from our local church. You know, it's amazing. That's just an indication of the outpouring. So we're also using those hubs now as rally points, as a place to send our volunteers when they come. And the people working these hubs are trying to keep their finger on the pulse of where the needs are in that local area. And then that's moved on further to now being a place where we want to ask anyone who is affected by the floods, if they walk on down to our hubs and let them know their address and their contact details and the kind of work that they need done, we'll get people to them as soon as we can. We've got people waiting to help. Brisbane wants to help them. It's just coordinating it. So that's our dilemma at the moment. We're working on that as best we can.
Absolutely. And so, if people can bring down things, if they've got gurneys, if they've got gumboots. I know the council are asking for gumboots. You know, Brisbane, we're usually dry, aren't we? So gumboots aren't a thing that many people have. There's a shortage of those. If you've got gloves, if you've got sunscreen, whatever you can bring down. If you want to help, come down here. What are you telling volunteers?
Well, we're being a little bit careful at the moment because we don't want 1,000 volunteers rocking up because it's early stages of the day at the moment. But we are building up now databases. Just in the last half an hour, we've gotten 5 or 6 houses that have registered here. So I believe that stream is going to really increase through the day. I particularly believe we're going to have peaks once we get out to houses and we're in them cleaning them. Neighbours coming back will see that there's help available. So I think later on today we're really going to be able to hit at full steam. What What we're telling people at the moment, though, is be prepared. Get ready. We want them to be safe and to be able to be effective when they come out. So like you say, hat, sunscreen, gloves. Gumboots are more important than we thought they'd be. But as sturdy, if you're going to be able to throw the shoes out after you finish today, that's good too.
That's okay too. So are you, you've had a lot of people through here today. What's the mood today? Has it changed?
Yeah, there's a bit more. People really can see that we think today is going to be the action day. There really was very little we could do yesterday, of course, but we had a lot of people asking. I believe that today, on the radio stations, this is clean-up day. Clean-up starts today. So we're just here on the ground, and we are seeing now people coming back to their homes. And there's all sorts of things, like heaps of homes, as you could see around here, I'm sure in your footage, so many people sandbagged. Sandbagging was a massive operation. The flood peak was I think a metre lower than what it was predicted. Yeah. So there's all these people moving sandbags out there that weren't needed, and that's a real need.
Yeah, we just need manpower, don't we?
Yeah, people moving furniture back, so we just really want to try to find where those needs are so we can get volunteers there. We know there's help.
What's the best situation for you? I know you can't be swamped with people here, that's not going to work. Do you need people to get onto that website and register for the council website?
Yeah.
What's the best way?
Look, there are lots of websites you can register with. You can register with ours, though, for us and to be a part of what we're doing. citypointchurch.com, CITIPOINTE church.com.
Yeah.
Register there, and then what we're doing once people register is just send out an email. Once it was sort of twice a day up until now, but if we start ramping up, it will be more frequent. We're also directing them, once you register, to follow certain people and the church on Twitter and Facebook, because that's where the immediate news can get out.
Yeah.
So that's what we're using.
That's right. So there's a lot of work to be done. It's not going to be helpful if the streets are jammed up here with people wanting to help but unable to coordinate. So if you're keen to do work, check those websites. The council website certainly has a lot of information, and the work's well underway. So, it's all happening down here.